Imagine this. You're going to a party or a family gathering, and you know that it's going to be a little awkward, so you want to go in with things to talk about. But what do you talk about? Your life? Your job? Your favorite sports teams? It's a hard question because everyone's different. But what you need to have is a random set of facts that can make you the focus of every conversation because they'll want to know what other knowledge you can spew. So allow us to reveal to you these facts that will make you the most interesting person in the room. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 12. Courts. The Supreme Court is one of the most important things in the United States, and the building that houses the court has another court in it, a basketball court. No, this is not a pun or a joke. There is a basketball court above where the Supreme Court meets, and it's called the highest court in the land. Yep, that'll blow people's minds as you tell it to them. 11. Reality versus fiction. Given the world we live in, it's not surprising that some people blur what is real and what is not. Just ask die-hard wrestling fans. But sometimes the results of this inability to see fact from fiction is surprising. For example, in 2008, a study was done on British teenagers, and the study concluded that 58% of those British teenagers thought Sherlock Holmes was a real person. In contrast, 20% of them felt that Winston Churchill was fictional. That is a shocking and honestly rather horrifying thing that shows the failure of our educational system worldwide. What do they think all those shows about Sherlock Holmes were for? Honoring his legacy? That's why Google exists, people. Look this stuff up. And you can't rant about others after you tell them this fact. 10. Ants versus people. There are many things on planet Earth that people could honestly live without, or at least they feel that way about certain things. And one of those things are ants. They're everywhere, especially outside, and when they get inside, you want to kill them as quickly as possible, right? Right. Anyway, you'll likely know that there are a lot of ants out there in the world today, but what might surprise you is their collective body weight. There are so many ants in the world that if you were to add up their body weight, it would outweigh the entire human race. Yeah, for real. They may be small, but they're numerous, and if you think about it, that would put their numbers in many trillions. Some people even speculate there are 10 quadrillion ants on Earth right now. Wow. 9. Google. They say that hindsight is 20/20, and that's true. What is obvious to us now is not always so obvious when we start to do something or even see something that could be big. The best example of this is Google. Google is something that no one in their right minds can imagine life without because it's Google. But once upon a time, it was just an idea by a couple of computer programmers who were trying to pitch their idea in the age of computers not being the powerhouses that they are right now, which is the impressive fact we have for you. Back in 1999, Google was willing to sell itself for $1 million to Excite. They turned down the offer. Oops. It should also be noted that there are many legendary investors in Google that you might not know about, including Shaq. That'll also turn some heads during your conversations, no doubt. 8. Starfish. Starfish are very interesting creatures, even if most of humanity doesn't want to admit it, because they're alive and yet they're kind of not. It honestly is a complex creature, but what is really complex about it is the fact that it processes what other animals simply can't do at the rate it can. Which brings us to our amazing fact. A starfish can go and regrow an arm that has been lost. Yes, it can regenerate, but that's not all. The arm that was cut off or lost, it can regrow an entire body just from that arm. So, in essence, you're literally cutting off a part of a starfish and growing another starfish as a result. That's mind-blowing, which the people you tell this fact to will no doubt agree with. 7. Left for right. You may not think about just how different left-handed and right-handed people are because it's more than just having a dominant hand. It affects everything they do, and sometimes that means having to compromise and use tools and gadgets that are meant for right-handed people, not left-handed people. Which brings us to our fun fact. 2,500 left-handed people a year are killed because they use tools, gadgets, and so on that are meant for right-handed people. It may seem crazy, but it's true, and you can lure in people with that fact. 6. Under my skin. Skin. It's the thing that covers your body, and you don't really think about it unless it's hurt, burnt, frozen, or cut. But a deceiving thing about skin is that it's easy to think of as one solid layer of something, but it's not. There are skin cells that are built up to make the outer layer of your skin. And whether you realize it or not, you shed that skin every single day. So much so that in your lifetime, you'll shed 40 pounds of skin when you add up all of those cells. Ugh. As if that wasn't enough though, you lose so many skin cells in a single month that you are well and truly replacing your outer skin, the entire skin, every month. 5. Calculating the moon launch. The advancement of technology is a classic tool to start conversations, but there are certain facts that flat out prove just how far we've come in the last decades with computers. For example, a single TI-83 calculator has 6 times more processing power than the Apollo 11 rocket that sent astronauts to the moon. Yep, that calculator that you used in math class to try and figure out hard equations was more powerful than the entire Apollo rocket had to get to the moon, land on it, and get back. Wow. Just goes to show that we're used to being really good at doing more with less, you know? And that in and of itself is a great conversation starter. 4. 4-year-olds. Kind of poetic that we're doing this one, right? But as any parent, grandparent, sibling, babysitter, or anyone else who watches young kids knows, they ask a lot of questions, mainly because their brains are trying to comprehend everything that is going on around them. And the way to try to figure it all out is to go and ask questions. But what might surprise a lot of people in conversation is that 4-year-old kids honestly ask about 400 questions per day. Why? Well, why not? And if you say that to certain friends who have kids, they'll keep the conversation with you going for a while as they speak about their own kids. Never fails. 3. Psychology. There are a lot of studies of the brain, from its composition to emotional responses to how it controls the body and so on. But arguably the most well-known study of that is psychology. But here's the rub. What is psychology? But the brain trying to comprehend itself. Exactly. We just went all philosophical on you. Whoa. And that's the point, because people will likely find that really deep, and thus you'll be able to continue the conversation chain with them. That's what you might call using the old gray matter. 2. Can it? This fact might be a little gross from a certain point of view, but that's what makes it so conversation enticing. You see, when you think about Pringles, you no doubt think about the can the chips are put in. That can honestly had an inventor named Frederick Bauer, and you can bet that he made a pretty penny off of that invention. But what's truly shocking is the fact that when he died back in 2008, he ordered that his ashes be buried in said can. For real. Yeah, we can't believe it either, but it happened. Guess those cans did really mean a lot to him. 1. Vending machines and sharks. At first glance, you might think that these two items have nothing in common. But you would be dead wrong. Emphasis here on dead, because the fact of the matter is that vending machines kill 4 people per year, which is impressive. But what is shocking is that this is the same amount of people that are killed by sharks every year. That's right. While shark attacks are numerous every year, their deaths are only the same amount as people dying because of vending machines. More than likely by said vending machine flattening them. You wouldn't expect that, and that's why it's perfect for conversation. People will be shocked and bam, you have them hooked. So, go. My viewers, please use these facts to be the most interesting person in the world. Or, well, we mean room. So, what do you think? What do you think of these interesting facts that will definitely make you the most interesting person in the room? Are you going to try and use these facts at your next social gathering? Which ones honestly surprised you with their knowledge? Do you know any other interesting facts that should be on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.